stopped. So we are talking about the osmolality of the plasma, all right? Okay. Kidneys have a special mechanism, and the name of the mechanism is a very special one. Now you will get familiar to the name. The name is counter current mechanism. Okay? Now, you have some idea about the meaning of the word counter current now. It means this mechanism is operating at the level of nephron and the vasa recta, isn't it? The nephron and its blood supply, basically. Okay? This counter current mechanism makes some very special arrangements, and this mechanism concentrates the urine, or when this mechanism gets very slowed or is inhibited, the urine is diluted. So urine is concentrated by this mechanism, and once this mechanism is inhibited or not working, automatically the urine will get diluted. So you have a range of dilution to concentration of urine depending upon the situation, how much water is mawjood, how much extra water is mawjood, or how much less water is mawjood in the body. Right? Okay. Along with this mechanism, this is the kidney's inbuilt mechanism. It is present in the kidney. Along with this mechanism, we also have some external support. This mechanism is working with the help of a very, very powerful hormone, which is the hormone controlling water in the body, and you know about that hormone. It's ADH. ADH is controlling water, shifting the water more or less depending upon its concentration, but actually ADH, by controlling water, is controlling one of the very important parameter of the plasma. What is that parameter? Sodium, which means it is controlling osmolality. So if I say ADH is the chief controller of osmolality, now I'm changing the statement, okay? Keep it in mind. If I say which hormone is the most important hormone for the control of osmolality in the body, you'll come up with only one, and that is ADH. Others are affecting, aldosterone is affecting, others are also affecting, but one and only powerful is ADH. ADH, its hadaf is nephron, you know that. By acting on nephron, it will try to absorb water if ADH is mawjood. If ADH is not mawjood, what will happen to the nephron? If ADH is not mawjood? No reabsorption. So what will happen to the urine formation? Increase, and the urine gets diluted. So it means now, this external factor is extremely important. The machinery is mawjood in the kidney, but the operator of the machinery is coming from your pituitary. And who is that operator? It's ADH. External factor is ADH. If ADH is mawjood, and if ADH is maximal, in maximum amount of ADH secreted, your osmolality will become up to 1200 milliosmoles per liter. If ADH is not mawjood, absent, 0, then the osmolality, not of the plasma osmolality will change slightly, but I'm talking about the urine osmolality. What will happen to the urine osmolality? It will decrease. Good answer, but obviously you don't know how much decrease, so you are saying decrease just, okay? How decrease will that be? This is a question. 300, it will become equal to, no. Urine can go very low really, okay? It's not only matching with the plasma, this is not the point. It's a good point actually. Urine is usually, average urine is always more concentrated than plasma. It's 400 or 500 like this, okay? Extremes, it may go up to 1000, 1200s. But extremes of dilution will make the osmolality of urine how much? What is your idea? 50, that's a good answer. 50 taqriban. So now you have a range of osmolality of the urine under normal conditions in normal persons, okay? As low as 50 and as high as 1200. On the other side, when you have lowest osmolality, what is the position of ADH at that time? Absent. And there, what is the position on the other end? It is maximum. And usually, according to the need, ADH is mawjood, it's moderate secretion. In the vasat, you can say it's present. ADH is present, osmolality stays in the middle. 500, 600 like this, 400 like this. Whatever is the requirement, it keeps on doing it. But most of the time, the urine osmolality is more than the plasma osmolality. Okay? This is one thing. So the mechanism in the kidney is called countercurrent mechanism, but it is hormonally influenced, and that hormone is ADH. That's coming from pituitary, and ADH does a miracle really, okay, and it totally changes the situation. Okay, now how does this mechanism act? Let's talk about this mechanism. Vasa recta, remember 2 points. Very slow movement of the blood. Second thing, very permeable. Permeability and exchange is happening between interstitium and the limbs of the vasa recta. Very permeable and very slow blood flow. Two very special characteristics of the vasa recta. Okay, remember, the blood is very slow, and second thing, lot of permeability, exchange happening between the interstitium and the blood which is moujud in the vasa recta. Come to the nephron here, okay, you know about the nephron, it's going in this direction, coming, you know the characteristics also, that what is happening in the proximal tubule, what is happening in the loop of Henle, thin part, and the thick loop of Henle, and the early distal tubule, late distal tubule, and the collecting duct parts. You have done it. Maybe you don't remember it right now, but at least you have developed a picture, all right? You have an idea about that. Great. Now, this system of your nephron is a very special system, and this system has a special name. The whole mechanism is called countercurrent, but look at the name here. I am writing the name here, this part, the nephron part, I call it counter current, and now look at the word. What is the word written here? Counter current multiplier. So now I'm giving a special name to the nephron part, and I call it counter current multiplier. Okay? This is also counter current, so I'll say counter current. Okay? But here I'm calling it exchanger. This part is counter current exchanger, and this part is counter current multiplier. Now, this is the mechanism for concentrating the urine. Okay? If it is not working, then the urine will get, you know that, okay? But actually this mechanism is for the concentration of urine. Now, look at this mechanism. Be careful. Counter current multiplier, what is the meaning of the word, and what is the whole idea behind? By concentrating, when you are concentrating the urine, actually what you are trying to do, urine will get concentrated, it will go out. But by doing concentration of urine, what advantage are you getting? You are reabsorbing the water. And why are you reabsorbing the water? Because you want this water to go back to the plasma so that its osmolality is back to normal. Okay? If you remove the water from plasma, dehydration for example, what will happen to the osmolality? Now this is bad. Okay? You want that osmolality again. And the easiest way to bring the osmolality back is to bring the water. How will you bring the water? Reabsorption. Where from? Kidney. Which mechanism? Countercurrent mechanism. Okay? So the whole idea is that you want to get the water back for the body. Isn't it? Now, see. This mechanism or this machine, this little machine, amazing one really, is doing something very special. This is interstitium. Okay? Somehow the plan of this mechanism is that if you somehow in the interstitium here, in this area, all here, if you somehow increase the solutes, different types of solutes, its concentration is increased, solutes, if you bring, what will they do? They will attract, like magnatis, they will attract the water. Wherever the solutes are there, wherever there is a stemma of solutes, water has to come in that region, okay? They are the attracting force. So a simple plan is that somehow get hold of the solutes in this region. And if the solutes are there, water will automatically come. Once this water is coming in this region, now this water can easily go into the permeable vasa recta, and vasa recta slowly will take that water, this message, back to the plasma. So look at the simple plan of this picture. First of all, you have to somehow make the solutes, bring solutes in this area. Once the solutes are here, you are attracting what? Water. And then you are sending water to vasa recta, and that water is going back to, and your plasma osmolarity is maintained or corrected. Did you get the whole idea? Now, how does this mechanism gets the solute? This is the beauty. You have to understand that. Okay. So countercurrent multiplier. Now you get the meaning of the multiplier word. Yes. What is it multiplying? Okay, it is multiplying the solutes in that region. By multiplying the solutes, you are increasing the concentration and attracting the water. Okay. So this is the whole idea of the countercurrent multiplier. Okay. So countercurrent multiplier, the nephron, that produces a very high osmolality in the interstitium. If you are getting more and more solutes in interstitium, what will happen to the osmolality? Increase, 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 definitely increase. You call it hyperosmolality. What do you call it? So it means you have to produce hyperosmolality in the interstitium, and that hyperosmolality will attract water, and the problem is solved then. Okay? So this multiplier is the producer of hyperosmolality. Okay? Where will it get water from? From the tubules. It's passing in the pipelines. So it will attract the water from the tubules. It will also get the solutes first from the tubule by a very special mechanism, and then it will get the water also after that. So both the things it will derive from one source, and that is your tubules. Tubules will give the solutes, definitely,
and water.
And later they will also give the water. Okay? And then that water will be shifted here, and the story finishes. Okay, look at this one. Countercurrent multiplier, and of course this multiplier cannot operate, it's useless without a special hormone, and that is okay. This exchanger does a very special job. Not only it carries the water, okay, it also maintains the hyperosmolality. Who produces the hyperosmolality?
The multiplier.
And this vasa recta maintains it, because if you produce it and after 1 minute if it is again gone, then what is the use? You can't do anything. Yani first you produce and then you keep those solutes somehow by some mechanism so that they're trapped inside and they remain in the interstitium for a long time. Then you can bring more and more water, and then you can shift the water. If it is a temporary, for a very short time, then this mechanism will not be a very good mechanism. Right? Okay. So this mechanism will maintain. This is the job of maintenance, and this is the job of production or development of the hyperosmolality. It means the whole system has two components. One component is called the production component, multiplication or developing of the osmolality, and the second one is how to maintain it. Together they are working, and together they do a wonderful job in maintaining the hyperosmolality here, absorbing, attracting water, and then later maintaining the osmolality of the plasma. Okay? Look at this one. Proximal tubule is not important in this part. Okay? The loop of Henle is playing the most important part, and after that your collecting ducts are playing another important part. So first of all you focus that which area of the nephron are we focusing and we are attracted with. Loop of Henle and the collecting ducts. First of all, identify the areas and let's move then. Now you see, in the loop of Henle, you know, this thin area is basically, as you see, water comes out from this area and you have a higher concentration of solutes at the U-turn, and then water is not reabsorbed from this area very poorly or takriban no water, and the concentration changes, osmolality changes here. Here in this area you only absorb solutes, very special significant solutes, but you don't really absorb water from here. You also don't absorb urea from here. Okay? This area, when you are coming down here collecting ducts, This area is for the water absorption, if you remember. Some solutes are also absorbed, no problem. Okay, and in the lower part, if you remember, in the lower part, medullary collecting duct, there was a very special feature when ADH was working there. Our ADH was absorbing water, and after that something happened actually. What was that thing happening there in the urea? Who said urea? Yes, urea. Okay, the secondary effect of urea. So it means urea is also absorbed by virtue of the water reabsorption. From the medullary collecting ducts, our water, good amount is reabsorbed, and after that what is coming? Solutes. The solute. Which solute mainly? It is the urea, because it is getting concentrated in that part, so it will also come. So if I ask you what is the best area for the urea reabsorption, you will say, yeah, okay, the lower part of your collecting ducts, okay, on which ADH is acting. Okay? Please. Now, first of all, you need a very high concentration of solutes here. Who is the main supplier of that one? Well, the thick loop of Henle is giving you sodium, chloride, potassium in good amount, and that is staying in this region, number one, solutes. Okay. Second thing, from the distal tubules also to some extent, some sodium chloride is absorbed, but water is not absorbed, if you remember. Okay. Yeah. From the thick loop of Henle, it's sodium, chloride, potassium, solutes. These are reabsorbed, but water is not. From the early distal tubule, it is also kind of similar to the thick loop of Henle. Same thing. So you get mainly sodium and chloride. These are the two most important ions for the osmolality. Sodium and chloride. Sodium is sodium, and chloride is the follower really. Okay. These two will accumulate here, and they will start building up the concentration. Okay. More concentration will come from the other solute, and that solute is urea. Now you have got two types of solutes coming which are together contributing in hyperosmolality. Number one, it is inorganic solutes. So what do you have in the inorganic solutes, Shabab? It's sodium, chloride, and ions, other ions. And what about the organic solute, which is okay? Urea has a very amazing role. I told you that urea is not a waste actually. Urea is filtered, okay? Urea is like reabsorbed to some extent also from these areas. From here urea is reabsorbed slightly here, and from here urea is mainly reabsorbed. About 50% of urea is reabsorbed, and urea can re-enter into this area from this U-turn, and from this region some urea can enter slowly again into circulation, and again it will be reabsorbed. So urea tries to stay really, it is not totally excreted. Every time you filter the urea, that urea totally is not excreted. Taqriban half of it is reabsorbed, and it circulates between the interstitium and the tubule and interstitium. It maintains the cycle actually, okay? It's kind of a cycle. It moves and moves and moves. It comes from here, okay? And it goes back here, and some of it is excreted, some of it is absorbed here, and it is staying here, and it can move from here. So it is maintaining itself in that region. So urea has a very good influence in the interstitium, okay? It is all the time found in the interstitium, and it is helping the mechanism actually. So from a waste product, you are getting a benefit really, significantly, and that is for the concentration of urine. If you have high concentration of urea there, it will add to the solutes, inorganic solutes, and totally the osmolality will increase here. Okay. So in interstitium, khususan, the osmolality is contributed by not only sodium chloride but by urea also. I'm not talking about plasma now. Plasma is sodium, you know that. Okay. But this area, interstitium, there are two influences: sodium chloride and urea. Taqriban 60 to 70% it is from sodium chloride, no doubt about that. Okay. But still, 30-40% of urea is very, very powerful, and it is helping in the hyperosmolality. Okay. Now please see, once these two things are produced, ions and urea are gathered here, and this is happening in the presence of a hormone. Don't forget that. What is that hormone? If ADH is not there, will you have that urea coming here? No, it will not. And will you have that water being, even if sodium chloride is maujood, will water be reabsorbed if ADH is not? So you will not have the concentration of urine if the ADH is not there. Why? Because urea will not be there and the reabsorption of water will not happen. Remember, ADH forms special channels and these channels are aquaporins. If you don't have ADH, you don't have aquaporins, the water will straight away go into urine. Okay, so now one job is done. Multiplication, the nephron says that Alhamdulillah, I have done my job. I have given you the solutes, both. Okay. Now don't ask me to maintain it. I will not maintain it. Now who will maintain it? Yaps. This special arrangement between these two limbs are very unique and very complicated and strange thing happens in this one. When you are going down from here, what happens? Because as you are going down, the osmolality is getting higher and higher because of the solutes. This region has a osmolality, this region has a little higher osmolality, this region even higher, this region even higher, and this region has the maximum highest osmolality here. So there are darajat of osmolality in the different parts of your medulla like this, okay? It's increasing here. As the blood is passing, this water is influenced by the osmolality. If the water is influenced by the osmolality, the water which is coming from here, the blood has the osmolality, normal osmolality. What is that? 300. As it passes, the water is attracted to some extent here. Some water comes out. Okay. If some water is coming out, what will happen to the osmolality by the time blood goes down? It is increasing. One more thing. Because the solutes have a higher concentration here, from their higher concentration to lower concentration, solutes start moving inside. So double process is happening. Some water is trying to come out and some solutes are going to inside into the blood. If these two events are happening, yani water is coming out and some solutes are going inside, what will happen to the osmolality by the time you reach the U-turn of the, it's a double effect, isn't it? Double effect is there. So osmolality increases. So from 300 to 400, I am talking to you about the maximum. 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 1000 and up to maximum of 1200 milliosmoles can be developed in the blood. Okay, 1 point. When you go up, again, an opposite process happens. Okay, this water, all right, will start, the solutes which are increasing here and these two limbs are touching to each other, the solutes which are there from their higher concentration, and they will start moving into the other limb because these two limbs are touching. I told you in the beginning, they are not far away like this. These two limbs are touching like this, the walls are touching. If the walls are touching, then a difference of concentration, slightly higher concentration from this side takes it to the other side. Okay, so solutes, as blood is moving down, solutes from here will go into this limb. Okay, they can go out also and they can go from this limb to this limb. Water will enter into this limb and solutes will go out of this limb into this limb or outside. So exactly, now think and just answer. What is actually happening to the solutes? What are you doing to the solutes?
Exchange them with the...
They are entering the descending limb. Then from the ascending limb, they are re-entering into the descending limb or they are going into the... Okay, so what are you doing? Are you taking the solutes away into the plasma? No. So what are you doing? You are trying to maintain, you are trapping the solute, you are cycling the solutes between the limbs, and in doing so, what are you actually doing? You are trying to maintain high concentration of solutes still in the interstitium, isn't it? It means maintenance, okay? But now look at water. What are you doing to the water? You are removing water slightly from the descending limb, but in the ascending limb, a large gush of water is going inside. So if finally the water is going in the ascending limb, what is happening to the water? It's reabsorbed, and where is it going? Into the plasma, okay? So you have done the job. This is the trick. You trap the solutes, but you send the water, okay? And this is actually done by the counter current exchanger, which is the vasa recta, because the properties are very special, okay? Now, one thing. Osmolality is done by this one. Osmolality is maintained by this one, okay, in this region here. Osmolality maximum at the level of the U-turn of the vasa recta, how much is that? Osmolality here at the U-turn of the loop of Henle, how much is that? Osmolality in the interstitium here at this level, maximum, what is that? 1200. And osmolality here, which the urine which is leaving at that time will be? So it means the beauty of the system is that osmolality is maintained at 4 levels equally. If the osmolality is 1000, it will be everywhere. If it is 900, it is 900 everywhere. If it is 600, it is 600 everywhere. If it's 1200, it's 1200 everywhere. Okay? So whatever change happens, it changes the whole sequence, and all the 4 levels will have the equal osmolality. That is amazing actually, okay? Because everything is interdependent, is depending on each other. Okay? So it depends on the ADH, how much ADH is present. That will decide about the osmolality, okay? But this machinery is the local machinery of the kidney. The operator or the hormone is coming from outside, but the job is done by the kidney. This mechanism is called the counter current mechanism, which has 2 parts. You've got to know the parts. It's multiplier and it's exchanger, okay? And this is how we maintain the concentration of urine, okay? What kind of diet will give you a better concentrating ability? What do you think?
Salt.
Okay. And why are you saying proteins? High salt, maybe. Salts are actually regulated very well, and they are excreted. First of all, their absorption is checked, and their output is also checked very much. So salt may contribute to a little extent, but above that there is another thing. Proteins. Why proteins? Yeah. Uric acid or urea? Urea. Okay. Proteins, they turn into urea. They are the ammonia containing, nitrogen containing compounds, and they finally turn into, okay, yeah. They will give you ammonia formation more and more. What is the source of that? When you eat proteins, okay, why do you think you will get more urea? Give me 2 reasons. You are, mashallah, done with that. You are saying proteins and urea production. Give me the roots. How?
There's a metabolism of the protein, there's one acid, will give us ammonia.
You eat proteins, okay, then what happens? Amino acids, okay, absorb amino acids. Now what? Go to the liver, basically, amino acids are taken to the liver, and then what? Metabolism. What is that metabolism? Urea cycle, okay? But what happens to the, what is the process known as? Purine means you are talking about the uric acid, isn't it? Yes. Okay, we are talking about the urea in the liver. You are saying urea cycle, perfect answer. How will you have the ammonia if you remove ammonia from the amino acid? Deamination, okay? So you are doing deamination, the process. You have got many biochemical processes going on. So deamination of some amino acids will give you, which will enter into the cycle of the urea, and they give you the urea. All right. This is one thing. What else? What is the other source of ammonia? This is one source of ammonia, and this ammonia is converted into urea in the liver. Great. Okay. But muscle degeneration will give you ammonia directly, or will give you the amino acids which will come to the liver and they will get the deamination? Any other source of ammonia in the body? Ammonia is virtually produced by all the cells of the body in some amount, because deamination process can happen anywhere. It's okay, but liver is the main factory. What is the other source of ammonia which becomes very, very important sometimes in some diseases? Another source apart from liver, because transamination again will be happening in the liver mainly. Okay, forget about liver, think about any other source. Yeah.
Energy production.
Ammonia. Sometimes ammonia gets into the blood in a very large amount, and if ammonia is very high in the blood, it can do what? Coma, you're saying. Okay? Alright? If the liver is not proper, kharban, in some sense, it's not working properly, and it's not detoxifying the ammonia, then what happens? The ammonia goes into the blood. That's hyperammonemia. And that hyperammonemia can easily affect the brain, its function, and it can lead to the coma. And that condition of the liver, when the liver is failing and not doing the function, and the person develops a problem of the brain, goes into the state of coma or any other problem, what do you call that condition? Liver and the brain. Hepatic encephalopathy or hepatic encephalopathy. Great answer. See, it's because of ammonia. So one ammonia was coming from the liver, some part of it. Okay, liver is not functioning, so ammonia is not detoxified. But there is yet another source of ammonia which liver is receiving.